CRTV News, ici, toute l'info.
The President of the Republic, Paul Biya, sends a message of comfort to flood victims in Marwa as the interministerial mission looks for lasting solution to these problems. Regional election in Cameroon promises to be a tough democratic tussle as non-natives are allowed by the law to stand for votes in the election. The Measure National Dialogue is 1 year gone, and the implementation of the ensuing recommendations are going on progressively. Some have been implemented, others are on course. Hello, I am Benen Bumagana. Welcome to the 7:13 News. We open this evening with news from Marwa, where the National Road number 1 from Marwa to Kuseri has cut off on 2 spots by floods caused by heavy rains. We will be back. Members of the interministerial mission who are on a working visit to the far north region went to the sides to appraise the gravity of the situation. I am talking about the road that got cut off along that road. As we get more of that story, we will also hear in the following report that the head of the interministerial mission to the far north region, Paul ATTAINING, has handed over the head of state's assistance to flood victims in Bogo in the Diamare division of the far north region. The assistance was handed over to the population during a ceremony on Saturday in Bogo. Details with Ebenezer Akanga in Bogo.
In the locality of Chakamari, some 47 kilometers before Waza, that the national road number 1 from Marwa to Kuseri has cut off on 2 spots. The road has been cut off by floods as a result of heavy rains. It is impossible to travel from Marwa to Kuseri and vice versa. Long queues of vehicles are found on the 2 sides. Travelers are stranded on the spot. Members of the interministerial mission who were in the far north region for a working visit went to the site to appraise the situation. Then they held a briefing in the conference hall of the far north governor's office to make an evaluation of the visit. The head of the mission, Paul ATTAINING, said that the population has welcomed the visit with enthusiasm as it brings hope to them. Members of the interministerial mission took turns to outline projects earmarked for realization by their ministries in the far north region in the coming years. Celestine Kecha-Kutest used the briefing to give assurance that she is in good health.
We started off by saying that a convoy of several cabinet ministers has suffered a multiple collision on the National Highway number 1, that is 10 kilometers before Moro in the far north region of Cameroon. It is believed that poor visibility and repair works on that stretch caused the accident. No lives were lost at the scene. Those injured were rushed to various hospitals. The delegation headed by the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul ATTAINING, continued their trip towards Waza. They are on a special assignment from the President of the Republic. The population of the tourist town of Waza in the far north region are at the mercy of floods which hit the locality at the middle of the week, causing untold damage. Inhabitants stand in water as everywhere is flooded. The main roads, streets, homes and farms. The mayor of Waza and the locals have managed to build a temporary dike to stop the floods, but their efforts have fallen short of solving the problem. The people of Waza have appealed for aid from the government. Among the steps taken to speed up the decentralization process in Cameroon are two important laws adopted and promulgated on April 24, 2019 by the President of the Republic. In continuation, the head of state on September 2, 2020 signed two other decrees relating to the regional elections. After reading these decrees, Staffman Constantine Baum says regional councils will play a vital role in the decentralization process. Here is his report.
Parliament adopted and the President of the Republic promulgated on December 24, 2019, the law to institute the General Code of Regional and Local Authorities. The law marks a decisive turning point in the steering of the country's decentralization process. All the steps underway for regional elections are seen as a sure way.
Economically, we would say the role of the region is to promote economic development and social progress. From a political perspective, we can say that the upcoming regional elections are going to pave the way for another important and emblematic solution to the ongoing crisis in the Northwest and Southwest.
Decentralization is the new legal framework and a decisive milestone where regional councils play Act 2 of the process. The process promotes local development and better service delivery to the population and creates new actors known as local authorities. They are at the center of the challenge to promote regional development and the emergence of Cameroon.
The upcoming regional elections may be more competitive, judging from the caliber of potential candidates to stand for the votes. Now, non-natives who have stayed long in the locality and can show proof of commitment to the development of the locality will be allowed to contest for votes during the election. Who qualifies? Who does not are the questions Kilian Datndifon sets to answer in the following report.
Regional elections are local polls with the difference that they have two categories of indirect universal suffrage electors who make up the electoral college. The first category is made up of the municipal councillors who make up the electoral college, and the second category is actors that constitute traditional rulers. It suffices for potential candidates to fulfill conditions set down by the law. Every Cameroonian who fulfills the conditions provided by the law is qualified to be candidate. You may not be a municipal councillor or a representative from a traditional chief. You simply have to show proof that you come from that region or that you fulfill the sociological consideration as a member of the community confirmed by administrative authorities. These are openings that make up the pending regional elections even more competitive because it is not a given for local potential candidates.
Since the holding of the major national dialogue in Cameroon and the ensuing recommendations, the government of Cameroon has been active in the implementation of these resolutions. So far, there has been a series of field visits, especially with the creation of the Committee for the Reconstruction of the Northwest and Southwest regions and the creation of different committees to implement these recommendations. Charles Ebune looks at what has been done and is what is left to be done.
Tired of violence, the complete return to normal peace in the Northwest and Southwest regions is one of the highly awaited feasible recommendations of the major national dialogue.
Enforce measures to end ghost towns by all means possible.
Today referenced as terrorists, the separatists are tasked to drop their arms to avert cohesive diplomacy and to recall to everyone by the Prime Minister Joseph Dion Gute during his trip to the Northwest and Southwest regions, it is better to talk than to war.
To track down promoters of hate speech in our country.
Another recommendation yet to have a clearer execution form is the special status for the Northwest and Southwest regions based on their linguistic and historic heritage. Clearly, regional elections must hold for the divisional representatives and houses of chiefs to become operational, paving the way for the independent public conciliator to be named. Judicially, the deployment to the northwest and southwest of the first ever uniquely English-speaking trained legal officers from the National School of Administration and Magistracy gives shape to the special status.
6 suspected separatist fighters in the northwest region have been arrested by elements of the Gendarmerie Legion in Bamenda. The armed men were picked up thanks to reports from the population which denounced the scoundrels as soon as they suspected the men were linked to crimes committed in the locality. Kilo Valerie Salai has details of that report from Bamenda.
These 3 separatist forces are said to have infiltrated into the locality of Bifang, Vidéo of the Momo division.
This guy left from Eka to Bifang. The villagers caught them themselves and brought them right to the Gendarmerie Brigade.
The Bifang village was reportedly freed from separatist activities as those in the movement took up a commitment to create a self-defense mechanism.
They said if they have decided to drop their gun, then nobody from any other village will come into their village to terrorize them anymore.
But they say they've been forced into the separatist rise against their will.
Commander Jumbosco, he come up with Kambato. He tell me say my journey at deny. He tell say if I not journey go kill me.
The commander of the Gendarmerie Legion in Bamenda, Colonel Bombiswe, says the 3 separatist fighters from Vidéo and 3 others active in Bamenda 2 municipality will face military justice.
We stay in Bamenda to say that following the killing of a uniformed officer, this week the governor of the Northwest region has announced that the circulation of motorcycles, commercial motorcycles too, in certain parts of the Northwest regional headquarters has been banned. The decision was arrived at after a crisis meeting attended by the city mayor and the SDO for Mezam. Governor Adolphe Lele Lafrique says the measure is aimed at reducing crime in the concerned parts of the town. Hear him in the following excerpt.
After that meeting, they came out with resolution to ban the circulation of motorbike in certain parts of the city of Bamenda. I would like to appeal to the citizens of Bamenda to support the decision taken by the city mayor and the SDO, implement it, to also give their full and loyal support that has been dictated by the head of state, both to the administration and to the security services, to bring back long-lasting peace in the Northwest region.
This time, the head of the interministerial mission to the far north region, Paul Tanganji, has handed over the head of state's assistance to flood victims in Bogo in the Jamari division of the far north region. The assistance was handed over to the population during the ceremony Saturday in Bogo. That is what we said. But we also said the national route number 1 from Marwa to Kuseri has cut off on 2 spots by floods caused by heavy rains. Let's get further details from Ibneza Akanga.
It was at nightfall on the second day of their working visit to the far north region that members of the interministerial mission led by Paul Atanganji arrived in Bogo to hand assistance offered by the head of state to flood victims of the locality. On behalf of the flood victims, the representative of the mayor of Bogo heartily thanked the head of state for the assistance. The head of the interministerial mission conveyed a message of hope from President Paul Biya to the flood victims. Earlier in the day, the members of the interministerial mission visited the 36-kilometer Marwa-Bogo road that is under construction. Then they went by boat across River Logon to the locality of Avakai in Maga subdivision, where they visited a portion of the dike on the Logon that has been swept away by water, causing floods in the area.
They have realized, and they said it clearly, that the head of state has wiped their tears because they were afraid that they are abandoned. But since 7 ministers, they are confident that when the dry season will come, most of the infrastructure destroyed by the floods will be rebuilt by the government.
Despite the difficult situation caused by the floods, the population still came out massively to commune with the members of the interministerial mission wherever they went to.
Thank you, Binetzer. Now, the Minister of Communication, Rene Emmanuel Sari, has signed a statement expressing government's indignation at the assassination of a first-grade police inspector, Bikoilen Danji, on the 1st of September 2020 in Bamenda by secessionist fighters. The statement says that the despicably cruel and barbaric act carried out at the City Chemis roundabout Bamenda by two individuals in possession of war arms who opened fire at a police patrol. The statement says investigations are going on to get the culprits. The government expresses the government strongly condemns with this cruel act carried out by a gang of secessionists who have once again violently taken the life of a police officer. The statement also carries the condolences of the head of state, His Excellency President Paul Biya, and that of the entire government, and reaffirms the support of the nation to the forces of law and order. The Canadian High Commissioner to Cameroon, His Excellency Richard Barley, has hailed the government of Cameroon for its efficient response strategy against the coronavirus pandemic. He was speaking today in Yaoundé in the course of a sensitization visit to the Mother and Child Hospital in Bankolo, dubbed Afrique Future Deo Gracias Oliga. This hospital was constructed with support from the Canadian government, as you say, Gilbert Ongene.
The visit of His Excellency Richard Bale to this health facility, erected by the Roman Catholic Church with funds from the Canadian government,
after attending sensitization, I've learned much.
It was also an occasion for the host to hail the announced universal health insurance coverage.
Freely, nobody pay anything. It is our contribution to the health of Cameroonians.
The respect of barrier measures against COVID-19 must remain a reflex.
Officials of the Ministry of Public Service and Administrative Reforms have been examining ways of improving on the competencies of state human resources to better manage the state finances. They have attended a training in Bolova which focused on the revision of a methodology guide that will henceforth assist persons to attain rigorous objectives. Emanuela Vemi reports on the workshop presided over by Minister Joseph Lee.
If the management of state finances is still mediocre in Cameroon today, officials of the Ministry of Public Service and Administrative Reform are convinced the problem hinges on human resources. They have thus been discussing the revision of the methodology guide to be experimented in 10 pilot ministries as a way out.
It goes beyond the organigram of an administration. You have all the details that will enable the minister or manager to know all the post of duties he has in this organization. We started with 10 administrations, and if it's okay, from next year we can generalize it in all the administration.
Holding in a Bolova for 2 days, it is a question of getting everyone to master his or her role in the management of public finances. The revised guide at the end of the training will act as a pointer to good practices in the management of public finances and put at the disposal of all.
The wearing of face masks in public places will be mandatory until further notice.
Let's now talk about the fight against COVID-19. We begin the second phase of our tour of the different regions to see how these regions are fighting against the COVID-19 pandemic. Our first stop is here in the central region of Cameroon, which has one of the highest number of persons tested positive for COVID. Board Isambawu is standing by at the Public Health Emergency Operations Center with his guest, Dr. Charlotte Musi, Center Regional Delegate of Public Health, tells us more. Hi, Baldwin.
Good evening and welcome. We kickstart the second phase of our tour to the different regions this evening with the central region of Cameroon. That happens to be one of those regions highly hit as far as the spread of COVID-19 is concerned. Our guest tonight is Dr. Charlotte Moussi. She is the central regional delegate of public health. Madam Regional Delegate, good evening. Thanks for being our guest this evening. Tell us what's the situation like as far as the number of patients in the different hospitals in Yaoundé before and presently. What's the situation?
Okay. Thank you to the opportunity you are bestowing upon me to talk about the hospitalization patient in the central region. Since the start of the epidemic, we have recorded 8,711 patients test positive. Actually, we have 85 patients positive who are active. We have 8 that are hospitalized in our center, dedicated center, and we have 77 that are being following as outpatients. So we have observed a decrease of hospitalization because it's closely related to the number of patients test positive.
And finally, Madam Regional Delegate, we've noticed this decrease or a drop in the number of patients in the different hospitals, even those in the different isolation or treatment centers is here in the central region. Does it mean these centers should be closed down? Is in appliance of a measure that have been taken by the government, that at this stage of the response, the Prime Minister instructed that all the patient COVID must be transferred to the dedicated center to allow the facilities to reopen and to take care of other pathologies that have been treated out of the hospital. So it's not that at this level, the center can't manage all the cases. Thank you so much, Madam Regional Delegate Dr. Charlotte Moussi, for being a guest this evening. There's a situation in the central region of the country. We continue our tour of the different regions as far as this second phase is concerned tomorrow with the littoral region of Cameroon. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Baldwin Samafon Kemen. The Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Kavayege Jibril, has authorized the creation of a parliamentary network for circular economy. During the launch of the network's activities in Yaoundé, the National Coordinator, Honorable Gerard Ngala, emphasized that the network would push for the sustainable management of waste and check pollution. Esther Kima has the details.
The challenge to attain sustainable cities and communities is growing, and the Network for Circular Economy is tasked to reinvent policies that prioritize the protection of the environment in line with the Sustainable Development Goals.
We are turning waste into resource. We are turning waste into wealth. We are making sure that nothing is being dumped on the landfills, making sure that we help companies who are currently practicing the circular economy by enforcing laws from the National Assembly that will regulate those practices and making sure that our environment is no more polluted.
In spite of setbacks like limited institutional and regulatory capacity and poor access to funding, they will work with the executive and council authorities.
We already have partners that are already exercising interest in what we're about to do, and we are happy that we're working with the government so that we can emerge by 2035.
Waste management options like incineration, plastic processing and metal reclaimer are envisaged to check environmental hazards.
The 6th edition of the Week of Scientific Research and Innovation Excellence has taken place in the University of Buea with focus on imparting skills on inventors and scientists. The university authorities say they are also focusing on helping students seize the immense opportunities that have been exposed by the COVID-19 crisis. Annabelle Ndike Eno Ayang reports.
The 6th edition of the Week of Excellence was aimed to disprove some facts which have been used to brainwash the youth with regards to the Anglophone crisis, as well as to empower them on income-generating skills.
We organized some workshop to bring in our brothers and sisters from the disarmament center so that they could acquire these skills that will help them get back into normal life.
Meantime, some researchers and innovators have been working tirelessly to foster development within the region and the country at large.
This machine is the granite shelling or peeling machine that peels the granite, separates the peelings from the nut itself.
While visiting the stands, which constitute a variety of items, the Southwest Governor's representative, Theophile Dumbe, encouraged them to continue to be proactive in the economy in order to diversify the natural resources.
In today's edition of the Book Review, we bring to you Business Risk Management, authored by Professor Kelly Moore Kingsley. The 264-page book makes a diagnosis of challenges faced by businesses in Africa and proposes some resolutions to improve management in corporate organizations. Natasha Lemon read through the book for the 7:30 News.
Corruption, fraud, bribery, and bad governance are among the key issues raised in the book with 12 chapters. The author, Professor Kelly Moore, outlines the different facets of corruption and its impact on the business cycle, religion, culture, and human resources. The book also points at some international safe havens for embezzlers and the need to change laws. The author of Business Risk Management also proposes African therapies to avoid corruption, some of which include justice, laying emphasis on accountability, the promotion of meritocracy, and the development of state enterprises through public investment. Some tips on good governance for corporate growth are also found in the book, which includes strategic guidance, loyalty, and competition, as well as respect of ethical standards. To the author, the promotion of Pan-Africanism should also be adopted because it is a tool to eliminate religious and tribal conflicts and promote a reorientation of ethical norms and values. Professor Kelly Moore Kingsley is lecturer of financial markets, public policy, management and leadership within and out of the continent.
It is with that book review that we come to the end of this edition of the 7:30 News. Thank you very much for watching. Our next newscast comes up at midnight, where some of these stories will be developed for you. Once again, I am Ben Bumagana. Good night.
In this connection, we should avoid stigmatizing